of a 40-year-old Katie Powers was shot after ignoring commands and reaching for a pistol.
Don't reach for anything! Don't reach for anything!
Investigators say Powers had a history of mental illness. For Civic Media News, I'm Stuart J. Waddles.
When snack time rolls around, don't settle for the same old, same old. Spice it up with Emmanuel's Mix. Imagine this: corn rice cereal, pretzels, and mammoth pecans, plus a unique coating that perfectly melts sweet and salty. Emmanuel's Mix Spicy Blend even won first place in the Grand Champion Eats and Treats competition at the Wisconsin State Fair. Now that's tasty. A proud member of Something Special from Wisconsin and served on the sweet level of Fiserv Forum. Emmanuel's Mix. Log on to emmanuelsmix.com. That's emmanuelsmix.com. And get snacking.
At Lakeland Care, we build better lives. Located right here in northeastern Wisconsin, our staff lives and works in the areas we serve. Offering public and private care management options, we have a strong track record of success in helping members of our community live their happiest, healthiest, and most independent lives. Beyond care management, we now offer consulting, coaching, and training for individuals and organizations. Where you need us, when you need us, we're on your team. Visit lakelandcareinc.com to learn more.
This summer, 5:40 a.m. WAUK has a new lineup.
Yes, that's awesome.
Starting at 6 a.m. Up North News, 8 to 10, The Earl Ingram Show. Mondays, 8 to 9, Under the Helmet with the Grave Digger, Gilbert Brown and Earl Ingram. 10 to 12, As Goes Wisconsin. At noon, Civic Media Network News. At 12:15, Town Call. 1 to 3, The Todd Alba Show. 3 to 4, Matt Flynn Direct. 4 to 6, The Devil's Advocates with Dom and Crute. And 6 to 7, The Maggie Dawn Show on 5:40 a.m. WAUK.
It's easy to listen to your favorite local radio station anytime. Download.
It's great to be here to speak directly to the woke mob.
The liberals have basically made up this whole agenda that guacamole is made of avocados. It's not the truth.
Ticked off, tee off. This is it.
Scubbity boom boom. Scubbity dog.
Moving Wisconsin forward, one joke at a time. This is Kristen Bry with As Goes Wisconsin.
Yada, yada, yada.
Hello, Wisconsin!
Well, this feels a little like deja vu because I feel like we asked this question a week ago on a more national scale, but on a Wisconsin level scale, who won? If you want to frame it that way, who won the shared revenue negotiations? Because yesterday afternoon, it was announced that Governor Tony Evers and Republican leaders have come to a tentative deal to keep Milwaukee from entering a fiscal crisis. Historic numbers for shared revenue for municipalities.
Yes.
There's parts of this that have to do with education, compromises across the board. And so for anyone who we're going to get into more of the details and some of the takeaways. The whole deal has not been actually introduced yet, or you can't read what is going to be written on paper. But as far as what has been released, as far as details from both LeMahieu, Voss, Evers, we know kind of the high level of what's involved in this. And so if you already know and you already have an opinion, 844-967-2789. Who do you think got the most out of this deal? Otherwise, listen to what I'm going to highlight and then give us a call or a text. That's 844-96-PARTY. Jane Madnair, how much have you read about this so far?
I have not read in depth.
Okay.
But just the fact that they actually came to an agreement, considering what was it just a couple of days ago, Robin Voss said, yeah, well, we're just going to strip all the Milwaukee stuff out of the budget and then go on.
That was yesterday. That was where we started the show. Yes, we spent the entire hour yesterday talking about
Robin
Voss and Milwaukee and investing in Milwaukee versus letting them figure it out. And that was just yesterday, because Wednesday afternoon was when it seemed like, this looks bad.
Yes.
And then driving home, I think it was yesterday, or maybe it was right after I got home yesterday, when it was announced that they seemed like they came to a deal. And
I can't believe that was only yesterday.
I know. And I think my same take is kind of how I felt about the debt ceiling. This is what divided government looks like. And am I annoyed that there are still strings attached and the party of local government is still trying to be overlords of what individual local governments can do with their finances? Yes. But it seems like it was a good deal. And I've seen some people on Twitter going back and forth saying, you can't say compromises or like don't paint compromises as a win. And I don't know why.
That didn't used to be the case. Compromise, the word compromise in the last 15 years has become such a dirty word, and I don't understand.
I don't understand either.
I mean, of course, we wanted everything that we wanted, and the other side wanted everything that they wanted. And as you pointed out, in divided government, you don't all get what you want. And is it a huge win for the Democrats? I don't know if it's a huge win, but I think the loss is bigger for the Republicans, especially because they were the ones taking the attitude of, yep, well, then we're just going to strip it all out and we're going to take it all away and take our ball and go home. And must have felt pressured not to do that.
And truly, because that was kind of, there was speculation, right? There was speculation that, are there poison pills in this on purpose? Are there these strings attached and stipulations? And if Milwaukee's going to do this, it has to look exactly like this. Otherwise, we just won't do it. And we just won't include it. And the fact that I look at this bill and across the board, the things that it touches, so school, municipalities, Milwaukee, are better than without the bill.
Oh, yes.
Right? Like
yes.
Everything is going to be a little bit better. Now, let's go through, again, we're talking about, get in your opinion, who won in the shared revenue tentative deal that has been announced yesterday. Details have yet to come out, but they're voting on it on Wednesday. So we'll get the details for it soon. Who gave in more? Who got more? 844-967-2789. But let's go through what we know so far about the deal.
Okay.
So the big one, at least from Milwaukee, the big one is there's not going to be a sales tax referendum for Milwaukee County or city. And so that was kind of the big contention and sticking point was if Milwaukee City or Milwaukee County is going to raise sales tax, which is a regressive tax, should voters not be able to vote on that directly? But the concern was the time. If we were to do first of all, to do a special election in the fall with money that we don't have,
yes,
because special elections are expensive, or wait till like next spring, which is time is money right now for Milwaukee.
This has got to get funded.
And the informational campaign that would have been needed to inform people enough on why this is in their best interest as far as being Milwaukeeans, there was a lot of concern that that was not the best route. So now it is going to go to city and county leaders, and they will vote, and they have to have a 2/3 majority vote on the Milwaukee Common Council and the Milwaukee County Board. And the county can raise its current sales tax to 0.9%. And that's a 0.4 increase, which is a little bit larger than what was in the original version of the deal. And then the city could pass a 2% tax. And so I think this is where current leadership in Milwaukee had really shifted to for years ago-ish, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. Doing a direct vote was the preference of past leaders.
Yes.
But this has shifted. And so this seems like a win because honestly, and if like voters don't like it, you can also like vote out your alderman or vote out your county supervisor. And I think that's kind of the expectation that there still can be accountability if voters don't want this, but to expedite the process, it'll be easier to do it with Common Council and the county board, which is a good thing.
Absolutely. 844-967-2789, 844-96-party if you want to call and or text. Who got the better end of the deal in the budgets from the 262? I'm not sure who won, but I can tell you who lost. Public schools. Much lower reimbursement rate per pupil than voucher schools. Special ed took a huge cut. I don't know how anyone who has kids in public schools can tolerate things that are happening here.
Well, they didn't get a cut. They just only got a 2% increase.
Okay.
So the tentative deal for schools, it does meet Evers' goal to cover 2/3 of school districts' costs. And so it provides $30 million over 2 years for school-based mental health services. It sets aside $50 million for literacy programs, and it will reimburse 1/3 of the school district's special education costs. And so I think it goes from 31 to 33%, which is not.
And that's been underfunded for a long time anyway.
Yeah. And so, but and I would say this is the part, especially in light of what we talked about last week, which is the religious schools that take vouchers that are not held to the same standards as far as protecting all students. But I have a feeling that this was the big give.
That was where the capitulation
I have to feel like this has to be the big give, because taxpayer funded payments to private voucher schools is going to increase to $9,500 for K through 8 students, which is a $1,100 increase, and $12,000 for a high schooler, which is about a $3,000 increase. Public charter school vouchers would also increase to $11,000. So when I read through the initial details of what has included, this feels like, because in Evers' original proposal, there was no increase. I think there's not only no increase, but also no new vouchers.
Oh.
I think if I remember that correctly, which I knew was never going to pass. But this, when I read through everything of the gives and gets, that feels like a big give on Evers' part and a big get for the Republicans who love the voucher program. And the other big give and get, is that the funding for Milwaukee still comes with strings. So the sales tax must be used for addressing the city's pension debt, funding police and fire and emergency services, and it cannot, of course.
Boy, they hate that trolley, don't they?
God, they hate that trolley.
Oh, man, we hate the trolley.
And it's just like, it's so, like, I'm not going to get into it because the trolley is its whole thing. But yes, some of the strings attached is they cannot spend any of this money from the sales tax on the streetcar. And it also requires a soft close on the pension plan, which means city employees who are hired after the pension plan closes will now be enrolled into the Wisconsin retirement system.
Okay.
Which is probably good. But, and I think the other thing is that there will be police in schools.
844-967-2789. Who got the better deal? 844-96-party. Real quickly, 262 says any deal is a win for cities in Wisconsin.
Absolutely. All right. Well, there's a couple more highlights from the deal that I want to go over, but we would love to hear from you on your reactions to this, no matter where you live, because there's certainly parts of this that also affect every municipality in the state because you're getting more money than you originally thought. So I think mayors across the state right now are pretty happy. So we would love to hear from you. 844-96-PARTY. How do you feel about the shared revenue deal? This is As Goes Wisconsin.
like you find financial solutions for life's important goals. Explore a full range of options, from financial advice and investments to insurance, banking, and generosity programs. To have a heart-to-heart about your finances, contact Mandy Roberts, who you may recognize as Mandy Wright. Call her at 715-470-1303. 715-470-1303. Mandy Roberts proudly serves the central Wisconsin area. For more details, visit therifle.com/disclosure.
Get ready to dominate the field like never before. Get to Soccer World in Brookfield. They have a great selection of shoes, apparel, and accessories to help kick your game into high gear. Soccer World's team of soccer experts have over 38 years of experience in the retail and soccer market. From cleats to shin guards, jerseys to coaching equipment, they'll help you stay ahead of the game. Plus, look to Soccer World for all your team business needs. Soccer World, 12615 West North Avenue in Brookfield, or online at soccerworldofbrookfield.net.
This Sunday is the Black-owned summer marketplace hosted by MKE Black Incorporated. Enjoy food trucks, vendors, and a live DJ, all while supporting local Black-owned businesses. This event will be downtown in the Deer District from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Learn more at mkeblack.org and download our app today.
Fear you may be missing out? We're always streaming on TuneIn and the Civic Media app. Enjoy listening live or catch up by finding the podcast at civicmedia.us or wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts.
Here's your updated forecast on the Shaw. Sunny skies this afternoon with highs around 80. Northwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles an hour. Lows around 54 tonight. Highs level off around 84. Tomorrow, cloudy skies expected. Temperatures well below average Sunday and Monday, with highs from the low 60s to the mid 60s. Scattered showers possible both days. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Eric Height. Currently, it's 66.
No one else was in the room where it happened, the room where it happened, the room where it happened. No one else was in the room where it happened, the room where it happened, the room where it happened. No one really knows how the game is played, the art of the trade, how the sausage gets made. We just assume that it happens. No one else is in the room where it happens. No one else was in the room where it happens.
Good choice of music.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. I am Kristen Bry. She is Jane Metnair. And we are talking about our own. I feel like a week ago we were talking about the debt ceiling and the negotiations. I guess we're still technically talking about it because there's a Freedom Caucus meltdown happening.
Well, they all went home.
I know.
For their 100, I just want to throw this in real quickly. For the people who say no one wants to work anymore, that's hilarious coming from them. It really is. Please.
But our own kind of tight wire, high wire?
Tight wire,
yeah.
Both work.
What's going to happen for those of us who were watching closely in our state budget and with shared revenue. It seems like we came to a deal yesterday that, I don't know, call me a moderate. There's a lot of people who would not call me a moderate, but I am pleased with it because I think across the board, it's better than where we were. I think there's not as much of gains for public schools as I would have liked to seen, and a lot of people would have liked to seen. The strings attached for Milwaukee are annoying, but better this than no deal at all. Or I just feel like it could have been worse for a lot of these different issues.
I agree with you.
And so we are asking you, who do you think won the shared revenue negotiation? Do we have a call?
We do. 844-967-2789, 844-96-party. Dave from Mequon checking in. Hey, Dave, what do you think?
I actually think both sides got, some of what they wanted. Obviously, some things they didn't get. Overall, I think the state of Wisconsin in general, especially, communities throughout the state. I mean, Milwaukee is going to get a 10% increase from the state in the funding in addition to the sales tax money, along with Milwaukee County. And everybody outside of that, I think, is around 20%, which is significant. That's a pretty good chunk of change that's being thrown out there.
Absolutely.
That being said, I went to urban planning up in Minnesota, and one of the things that I'm frustrated with this trolley situation, and the reason why there's a lot of pushback, especially on the GOP side. Originally, that was supposed to be just free for the first year, where there wasn't going to be any charge any passengers to actually use that. But here we are in 2023, and there's still no fare boxes in the trolleys. It's a money loser because they're not charging. They removed a huge amount of parking spaces throughout downtown. So you have the revenue decline in that. And then in addition to everything else, there's maintenance, and then Potawatomi, basically, pulled the funding from it because they're realizing that, the pandemic obviously had something to do with that. But when you're talking about, 1,000 riders a day, at the bare minimum, the city, if they were to charge $1, that would certainly cover a good chunk of some of the operating costs, but they'd still be losing. But by not doing anything, the city is losing, I think, from what I understand, $5 million a year, $6 million a year.
Yeah, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I agree with you, Dave. Like, I think there's something to be said as far as if Potawatomi was ever going to sponsor it, make efforts to have it go to Potawatomi so people aren't drinking and driving to and from Potawatomi, or have it go to AmFam Field. Like there is and obviously it's a lot more track to lay, but as far as plans of like, how is this actually moving people versus kind of this circle? And this comes as someone, the only time I really rode the hop was for my bachelorette party. We did a hop bar crawl. And so I hear your concerns with it, but overall, because we got to let you go, but, you think it was a compromise, and that everyone kind of got some stuff they wanted, and so overall move forward.
Yes, the only thing
I'm sorry,
is this. I'll be very.
We're coming up against the clock, so we're going to cut you loose.
Okay.
But
thank you so much for the call, Dave.
844-967-2789, 844-96-PARTY. John from the Falls texting in. So the Republicans got a massive increase in funding for private and parochial schools. Public schools didn't get anything close to what they need. There's still a massive state tax surplus, which is not being directed to programs which desperately need it. Milwaukee got some financial relief by being allowed to raise tax rates, which constituents are going to blame on the Democratic politicians in future elections. Republicans showed they can get what they want by holding hostage the services people in Wisconsin desperately need. I would say they were the clear winners.
Yeah.
Those are good points.
Those are good points. And I think for me, I feel like it could have been worse. Like, I see some of we talked about this last week. I made my video for Journal Sentinel yesterday, this week, on like just something as stupid as the UW engineering building that they're cutting from their capital buildings projects,
which is
budget.
Mind-blowing.
Which is like the WMC, your bedfellows were like, hey, fund this project. And you're like, no, and gave no good reason. And so there's certain things that they're cutting and that are outside of the shared revenue bill that just like boggles the mind, that there's part of me that feels like this could have been worse. That's probably not a great way to think about it. So objectively, I agree with John that like in the world of what the people want and have said that they want, maybe the Republicans got a little bit more, but again, I'm just being optimist because I feel like it could have been way worse. All right. Well, when we come back, Mike Crute's going to be here.
I know.
We're going to talk
excited.
about some of the best, the worst, and the weirdest headlines from this week. Stick around. This is As Goes Wisconsin.
Hold your nose and close your eyes. You wanna lead us to save the day. We don't get a say in what they trade away. We dream of a brand new start, but we dream in the dark for the most part. Dark as a tune where it happens. I've got to be in the room. I've got to be where it happens. I've got to be where it happens. I've got to be in the room where it happens. I gotta be where it happens.
give you a chance to enter a plea of guilty or not guilty, and typically they set bond conditions.
CBS's John Dickerson says there's a certain irony in the federal indictment against Donald Trump.
This is a president who's being charged with something that his former opponent in 2016, Hillary Clinton, was accused of doing, and he beat her because of it.
The former president has declared he's done nothing wrong and has called the indictment a politically motivated witch hunt. CBS News Special Report.
Looking for more local programming? Check out our website, civicmedia.us, to see our entire lineup.
For Civic Media News, I'm Stuart J. Waddles. Here's what you need to know in Southeast Wisconsin. The impact of the deal is far-reaching, with Milwaukee leaders happy about the agreement. The bipartisan plan for local government funding allows Milwaukee officials to raise the local sales tax and has additional conditions, such as bringing back Milwaukee school resource officers and restrictions on tax revenue usage. Waukesha police have released body camera footage of a police shooting that took place in December. 40-year-old Katie Powers was shot after ignoring commands and reaching for a pistol.
Don't reach for anything! Don't reach for anything!
Investigators say Powers had a history of mental illness. The traffic flow in Racine's Monument Square has been switched. Public Works this week changed it from northbound only to southbound only. The angled parking stalls were also flipped, with the change a part of a wider plan to redesign downtown Racine traffic. For Civic Media News, I'm Stuart J.
Hey,
Waddles.
this is Lindsay Keinert at 540 WAUK The Shaw. At Civic Media, we love our local communities and want to share your stories. Submit your local event and we'll let our listeners know. Email me, Lindsay Keinert, at info@civicmedia.us. That's info@civicmedia.us.
Attention, Wisconsin veterans.
Hello, I'm Tony Evers, the governor of Wisconsin. If you are veterans struggling to pay for rent, utilities, or other life-sustaining services, I want you to know that the Veterans Rental Assistance Program is here to help. You have already made a most noble sacrifice. You shouldn't have to continue doing so. We are here to support you. The Veterans Rental Assistance Program was created by and for people living in Wisconsin, with benefit approvals being issued to veterans in just days, not months. It's never easy to ask for assistance, but rest assured, we're here to help. You've always been there for us. We want you to know that we're here for you. Call 833-WIS-VRAP. That's 833-947-8727, or visit vrapwi.com. On behalf of the state of Wisconsin, thank you.
The Todd Alba Show.
We'll be moving to the afternoon, Monday through Friday, 1 until 3. Trigger Olson has graciously agreed to follow us into the afternoon. We're going to get to talk about the Lincoln Project and politics in Wisconsin, all across the state of Wisconsin.
I know, isn't that exciting? Where the beer is cold, the cheese curds are squeaky, the Harleys roar, the Eagles soar, and the Packers score, Todd.
The Todd Alba Show. Weekday afternoon.
Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. I am Kristen Bry. She is Jane Madnair. And one of the new things that we wanted to start doing on Fridays is welcoming some of our other civic media hosts onto the show to do some recaps of the week, of the best, the worst, and the weirdest. And then stick around to do our headline quiz at the end of the first hour. And so who better to kick off this new segment of crossovers, cross-promotion, than president of Civic Media and host of the Devil's Advocates radio show, arguably the best radio show ever.
I've heard,
is that what they say?
I have heard
is that
it
the
is
tagline?
the best radio show ever. Yes.
Michael Crute, how you doing?
I'm excellent. Good morning, Kristen. Good morning, Jane. Thanks for having me on As Goes Wisconsin.
I think this might be the first you've called in before, but this might be the first time we've actually had you planned on the show.
The first time I came invited this time.
You came invited this time. Exactly.
You are always welcome, Mike. You know that.
Well, let's just get into it because we only got 15 minutes and I feel like there's probably a lot to discuss. I have a feeling I know your answer to this question, but for you, What was the best headline this week?
Well, pardon me. The best headline is probably that, and I'm going to surprise you here, that Mike Gallagher is not making a U.S. Senate run because I think that all but assures Tammy Baldwin re-election. I think that Mike Gallagher was the only candidate that I really had any concern about whatsoever. I mean, Tom Tiffany or any of these other backbenchers the Republicans are going to roll out at their convention next weekend in La Crosse, they're all going to lose by double-digit margins to Tammy Baldwin. And the only one that had a fighting chance was Mike Gallagher, and he said no go. So surprisingly, I saw that headline this morning, and I think that might be the best headline, at least from Wisconsin's point of view, for the week.
I saw that this morning too, and I didn't get to read the article. Did he just say that he's too enthusiastic? Like, what was his reasoning? Was it about China and kind of what he's doing in the? You don't care.
What he tells the press, he's got this very important role on this China subcommittee. He's got a gavel, so he's doing important work for the people in the House. That's what he's, and of course, he's got family considerations. That's what they tell you. But here's what I would point out: the irony of the timing. The morning after Donald Trump is indicted, he decides he doesn't want to get on the ticket for 2024.
Yeah.
Coincidence? I think not.
That's a really good point, Crute. It really is. The other thing I was thinking is he put out a plea when the Capitol was being attacked on January 6th, telling Trump to call them off. And at that point, I thought, wow, the guy's actually got a spine. And within 3 days, again, he was a jellyfish. And I think,
well, and of course,
he doesn't want to have to
account for that
and be questioned about that.
Well, in a congressional role, I mean, I don't know if you guys recall, but last time through, Mike Gallagher didn't even have a Democratic opponent for his congressional seat. I love that Ben Wickler makes it rain all kinds of money from the West Coast and the East Coast, wherever he's pulling all this donor cash out of. But what is been disappointing to me is I still think you got to fight every battle in every trench in every district, be it congressional, be it all the way up and down the ballot, because the failure to recruit a candidate in the 8th CD against Mike Gallagher and CD number 6 against Glenn Grothman, I mean, that's a crime. That is a crime that the Democratic Party can't find a local business person, a state legislator, somebody that can at least go out there and draw interest down ballots and give people a reason to go out and vote. The fact that Green Bay, a college town, a metropolitan, the 3rd largest metropolitan, the 2nd largest media market in the state of Wisconsin behind Milwaukee, and it's red. That is crazy to me, and it's red because we aren't even contesting Green Bay. And if you look, we got a nice Democratic mayor in Eric Gingrich, but we don't even run a Democrat for U.S. Congress in Green Bay, Wisconsin. We're going to cede Green Bay to the red team. That I hope will change. The Democratic convention is tomorrow in Green Bay, and ironically, I'll be there.
That's not that ironic. I feel like this is one of your favorite weekends of the year, Crute.
Well, the only sad part, and sad from me and Dominic's point of view, from the Devil's Advocate's point of view, we have had some of the greatest shows we've ever done from the from the Democratic Party of Wisconsin, the DPW convention. And specifically in 2014, we were on the air talking with Democratic Party chair at that time, Mike Tate, who had been with Fair Wisconsin in 2006, when there was a constitutional referendum passed in Wisconsin that basically said there would never be gay marriage in Wisconsin. And
I
it
remember
passed
that.
on a vote of the people. And Barb Crabb, the federal judge, ruled, effectively opened up the door for same-sex marriage. That Friday night, about 5 o'clock when we were on the air, Mike Tate cried on the air. I mean, this guy was emotional. It was it was the beginning, I think, it was the beginning of something really great, which was the Democratic Party would feature their Friday night. We would get all their luminaries. We would put them on the air. And my only complaint now is with the Saturday, Sunday. I mean, people want to unplug from the politics on the weekend, and all the people that are already part of the party, they're at the party. So those that could be exposed, just, curious, could learn about the platform. They will not learn about the platform because we will have no live broadcast because people are doing their summer stuff on the weekends. They got to do it on Friday night next year. I put it in the comments box. Like, please,
complaints,
it's an election
room for
year.
improvement. That's a true good point. Like, I would have gone up, but I have an engagement party. I have a wedding. I have an event on Sunday. So it's like, I can't. But we are talking to Mike Crute, host of the Devil's Advocates, which you can always hear across the Civic Media Network from 4 to 6 p.m. All right, let's move on to what was the worst headline of the week, Crute?
Well, I'm gonna make the worst headline of the week right now. I'm gonna break some news
to
both you and Jane. Next Friday night, Saturday and Sunday morning, the Republican Party of Wisconsin are hosting their convention in God's country in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Civic Media's got a shiny new radio station, 1490 AM, The Eagle. We're on the air now in La Crosse, and Civic Media wanted to be there to greet the Republican Party at their convention. In fact, we wrote a fat check to go broadcast from their lobby to be exhibitors at the Republican Party convention in La Crosse. And they mailed our check back with a weak explanation of why Civic Media, a statewide, the largest news organization in the state of Wisconsin, is not welcome at the Republican Party convention, where I am an esteemed alumni of the fine university, and I would have certainly come up there and made it one hell of a fun broadcast because they are doing a Friday night. They just don't want us.
They just don't want us there.
So there's a little breaking news for you, for your team.
Did that just happen this morning?
I've known that information since at least yesterday. First time we've said it publicly.
Does it surprise you?
Surprised me. The cowardice of the Republican Party, not at all at this late date. The cravenness of this party that would follow Donald Trump. And normally I don't take pot shots at the Republican Party, but I've always said, if you bring me to your living room, I'm not going to disrespect your house. But if you make me stand in the yard, I may just have a few stones to cast through the windows. So the cravenness of a party that will still probably nominate the newly indicted Donald Trump as their nominee, this probably makes him stronger amongst his base. And of course, completely unelectable, I would think, in a general election. But they may literally have a nominee, at the convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The RNC convention will be in our backyard team. And their nominee may be wearing an ankle bracelet at the time. And I'd be very curious if he'll be able to travel to multi-jurisdictions and run for the presidency, even as soon as this summer. I mean, is the man a flight risk? Will he be at the debate in Milwaukee, August 23rd? Inquiring minds want to know.
I just find it interesting that the Republican parties all over the country, and especially here in Wisconsin, have now taken on all of the terrible traits of Donald Trump. They're like human tofu. They've soaked up his thin-skinnedness, where they can't take a joke, they can't take any criticism,
they can't take questions.
They can't face anybody. It's just remarkable.
I mean, and I want to keep this person very anonymous, but I had someone who had come on, a conservative, who had let me know that by coming on my show, they got feedback from some of their conservative friends and who just blatantly think conservatives should not talk to liberal media. And these are the same people who also think most media is liberal. So like, how are you supposed to get your message out if everyone is the enemy? And how are you ever going to change more? And it's the same thing with us, right?
Yeah.
How do you change hearts and minds? How do you talk to people who maybe not agree with you if you're not willing to go on other people's turf and answer harder questions? What do you think, Crute?
I used to go on Fox News, and it got to be, I was a fairly frequent contributor, not of the paid variety, but of the sort, because there's not a lot of liberal talk show hosts in America. They would bring me on as the punching bag to stand for some Joe Biden policy. And I did that for 4 or 5 years. And it got to the point where it was every month, every 6 weeks. And it was actually a year ago this weekend. Ironically, on my birthday, I was invited on Fox News. Second year in a row, I wasted a birthday weekend appearing on Fox News. And last year at this time, Fox News failed to provide live coverage of the January 6th primetime thing. And if you'll recall, they did Tucker Carlson sans commercials.
Yep.
So up until that point, I had been all down for, doing the rounds and going on less friendly media, let's call it. But I burned the bridge that day. I swore I was profane on Fox News. I called BS on their failure to cover.
I remember that clip
live. And here's the great news. I got another birthday weekend. No invitation. I don't have to burn any brain cells going on Fox News this week.
Well, there you go. Is your birthday? So your birthday? We're both Geminis. Is your birthday this weekend? Is the 10th?
It is. We got lots of birthdays this week.
And I'm the 18th.
Me, Joel Clayfish from Ascos, Wisconsin, had a birthday last night.
You mean raised in Wisco?
Oh, raised in the Wisco. I'm sorry. You're Ascos.
I'm Ascos, Wisconsin. You're Devil's Advocates. I'm Ascos, Wisconsin. How much time do we have?
We got 90 seconds.
90 seconds. All right. Mike Crute, do you want to play a quiz? You want to do a headline quiz when we come back after the break?
Sure.
All right. Well, so we're going to do you versus Jane. I got the questions and the answers. There's going to be 7 questions, so there's a tiebreaker. Stick around. We are talking to host of the Devil's Advocates and president of Civic Media, Mike Crute. We're going to play a game. When we come back, you can play along at home. This is As Goes Wisconsin.
The summer heat can really get to you. Hot, sticky, you feel like you're melting. But Wauwatosa, coming in July, it'll be easy to cool off at Joy Ice Cream Social. This family-run, family-friendly business is more than just ice cream. It's a cool community hangout spot for friends and family. Let's talk about the ice cream. 16 delicious rotating flavors direct from the chocolate shop in Madison. The perfect way to stay sweet and cool this summer. Opening in July. Joy Ice Cream Social. Scoop, snack, shop. 8334 West North Avenue. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram. The Brandy Old Fashioned is Wisconsin's official cocktail. How do you go about making yours a little officialer? Mix in Wisconsin's own Drink Wisconsin Blee Brandy. It's smooth, it's delicious, and it's bottled right here in Wisconsin, giving your Brandy Old Fashioned even more local flavor. And what about those times you're out and about and don't want to bring along a muddler in a glass? Drink Wisconsin Blee's got you covered then too with their Brandy Old Fashioned in a can. Enjoy Wisconsin's quintessential cocktail anywhere. Ask for Drink Wisconsin Blee beverages where brandy is served or sold. Remember to think responsibly when you drink Wisconsin Blee. Drink Wisconsin Blee Beverage Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
This summer, 540 AM WAUK has a new lineup.
Yes, that's awesome.
Starting at 6 a.m. Up North News, 8 to 10, The Earl Ingram Show. Mondays, 8 to 9, Under the Helmet with the Gravedigger, Gilbert Brown and Earl Ingram. 10 to 12, As Goes Wisconsin. At noon, Civic Media Network News. At 12:15, Town Call. 1 to 3, The Todd Alba Show. 3 to 4, Matt Flynn Direct. 4 to 6, The Devil's Advocates with Dom and Crute. At 6 to 7, The Maggie Dawn Show on 540 AM WAUK.
Here's your updated forecast on the Shaw. Highs around 80 this afternoon under mainly sunny skies. Winds out of the west, 8 to 15 miles an hour. Mainly clear again tonight. Lows around 54. Overcast tomorrow. Highs level off around 84. Much cooler Sunday and Monday with highs from the low 60s to the mid 60s. Scattered showers both days. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Eric Height.
Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. I am Kristen Bry. She is Jane Madnair. And our guest this half hour is Mike Crute, host of the Devil's Advocates and president of Civic Media, as our inaugural guest for our Friday 10:30 segment of welcoming other Civic Media hosts to our show. And one part of this segment is going to be playing a little headline quiz, since we're all in the news game. See what headlines we may have missed, or if we can get 100% on this quiz. So, Mike, since you are the guest, would you like to go first or second?
Ooh, always go second.
Always go second. All right. So, Jane, you are up first.
Okay.
Which comedian sparked controversy by saying he felt duped by electric vehicles? Tim Allen, Ricky Gervais, John Mulaney, or Rowan Atkinson?
Wow.
You know who Rowan Atkinson is,
I know.
right?
I know all of them.
Mr. Bean?
Yeah.
For people at home, maybe who didn't know.
Yeah. I
recognize that face, but not necessarily his name.
I have a friend who thinks that Rowan Atkinson is the funniest man who's ever lived.
Really?
Yeah. What were the four?
Tim Allen, Ricky Gervais, John Mulaney, Rowan Atkinson.
I'll go Ricky Gervais just because I like him.
Unfortunately, it was Rowan Atkinson. Mr. Bean, very upset by his electric vehicle.
Oh, wow.
All right, Crute, you're up. Which network's CEO?
Okay. I'm glad I didn't catch that.
That's the thing. These headlines are not all politics, so sometimes you get a little caught up. So this one's pretty political. I think you'll get this one. Which network's CEO is leaving after just 13 months in the position? CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, C-SPAN.
A guy I used to like when he was the executive producer on the Colbert Show. Chris Light over at CNN is out.
He is out. That is correct.
And isn't it hard to square the fact, Crute, that he was the executive producer for Stephen Colbert?
And he loves him. I actually watched that this morning of the clip from the Colbert, the Late Show, where it was announced that he was taking over for CNN and how happy Stephen Colbert was for him. And they had this whole segment. And I was like, this feels like two different people than who's been in the news lately. And so, but we'll see who takes over next. All right. This is a Wisconsin question.
Okay.
Jane.
Yes.
Two former political opponents made a rare appearance in a joint plea. Who were they? Eric Toney and Josh Call.
That one.
You didn't let me read all of them.
Because I know it.
I was going to say, could you imagine, though, if Tim Michaels or Rebecca Clayfish were seen on stage together, or Ron Johnson and Mandela Barnes were seen on stage together?
Not going to happen.
Or Dan Kelly and Jennifer Doro. But yes, it was Eric Toney and Josh Call. After running against each other last fall, Democratic Attorney General Josh Call and Republican Fond du Lac County District Attorney Eric Toney joined forces Tuesday to call on state lawmakers to increase state budget funding for Wisconsin's Crime Evidence Lab. So it is tied up 1-1. Crute, you are next. Fill in the blank. A Utah school district is removing blank from its elementary and middle school libraries after a parent complained it was too violent and vulgar. A, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. B, The Giving Tree. C, Pride and Prejudice. D, the King James Bible.
Oh, the King James Bible.
You are correct. A Utah school district is removing the King James Bible.
And now they're actually talking.
Until you gave me that as an option, I had totally forgotten that headline. I would have probably gravitated towards Harry Potter, or perhaps even the inaugural speech of the young lady that gave Biden's inaugural speech.
Amanda Gorman.
One complaining parent. Yeah, had that removed from Florida Library.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Totally ridiculous.
But now, actually, there might be a movement in Utah to remove the Book of Mormon, also from schools.
Which is wild. Is that violent and vulgar?
It's for one thing, it's almost impossible to read.
Did you try to read it?
I had, yes.
Wow, weird.
It's so ridiculous. No.
Different story for a different day.
I am wearing my magic underpants right now.
They're for protection, Crute. They protect.
All right, Jane. Soccer legend Lionel Messi turned down a reported $400 million a year offer from Saudi Arabia to join which U.S. team? Inter Miami CF, New York City FC, DC United, LA Galaxy.
Ooh, Miami.
It is indeed Miami.
All right.
Can you imagine turning down what would have been like $1.6 billion over like 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, but he's not struggling financially the way it is.
Oh, that's true. Crute, would you ever turn down that much money?
Not again.
All right. So, Crute, we'll do this last one with you. And then the last question, we'll see who can answer first.
Okay.
As I guess it won't be a tiebreaker because I think, Crute, you're still up 1. But in a rare move, which royal testified in court this week against the British tabloids? Princess Anne, Prince Harry, Prince Andrew, Meghan Markle.
Oh, is that my question?
That is your
Prince
question.
Harry?
You want me to read it again?
No, it was Prince Harry, correct?
It was Prince Harry. It was Prince Harry. All right. We're at the last question.
Okay.
It's another Wisconsin question. And we'll do this is for both of you. And whoever answers.
Oh, jump ball, James.
Jump ball. Jump ball.
Jump ball.
Dunk on you.
Okay.
What vaccine requirement did Wisconsin Republicans block this week?
Meningitis.
Boom!
Ding, 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 ding. I didn't know you were supposed to yell out the word.
Well, that's fair. You would have gotten that one too. I think. Can we call it a tie?
She got it quicker.
She got it quicker, but
well, that's very gracious of you.
This is the first time we've done that this format, so now the other host will know how to play. But Crute, you did very well. Which one would you have not known that Jane didn't know? The first one?
The Mr. Bean one and the electric cars. I would have known it wasn't Tim Allen, and otherwise I'd have probably gone Ricky Gervais too.
Absolutely.
He had a Tesla and then didn't like some aspect of it.
Well, you and I can share this completely useless title, Mike.
For this week. In
all
its nothingness glory.
All right. Well, make sure to listen and tune in to Devil's Advocates at 4:00 anywhere you listen to Civic Media, any station across the entire state of Wisconsin. Crute, this was so fun to have you on the show.
Well, thank you so much. I'll come back the next time I'm invited.
Or even when you're not invited.
Maybe before.
Just photobomb yourself in here. But Mike Crute, thank you so much. Have a great show later today. Have fun at the DPW convention this weekend. Can't wait to hear how that goes. And appreciate you, man.
All right. Be well, guys.
All right. Well, we are going to take a break for the top of the hour news. When we come back, Sherrie Tussler from Hunger Task Force is back to give us an update on what's going on with hunger across Wisconsin. This is As Goes Wisconsin.
Does your financial strategy include your hopes and dreams? What matters most to you? For over 100 years, Thriven has helped clients like you find financial solutions for life's important goals. Explore a full range of options, from financial advice and investments to insurance, banking, and generosity programs. To have a heart-to-heart about your finances, contact Mandy Roberts, who you may recognize as Mandy Wright. Call her at 715-470-1303. 715-470-1303. Mandy Roberts proudly serves the central Wisconsin area. For more details, visit thriven.com/disclosure.
One call can do it all. Your business's message can be broadcast across the entire state of Wisconsin through the Civic Media network of stations, or we can focus the campaign in your hometown. We have the flexibility. You have the control. Civic Media, 608-819-8255.
You're listening to The Shaw, WAUK 540 AM Jackson, W266DR Waukesha, and always streaming on the Civic Media app. The Todd Alba Show.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Vicki Barker. Donald Trump becomes the first former U.S. president to face federal criminal charges.
Trump's attorney says the 7 counts include unlawful retention of national defense information, obstruction, conspiracy, and false statements. The criminal charges grew out of a nearly year-long probe into Trump's handling of hundreds of documents marked classified.
CBS's Catherine Herridge. Trump calling the indictments politically motivated.
They come after me because now we're leading in the polls again by a lot, against Biden and against the Republicans by a lot. And we went up to a level that they figure the way they're going to stop us is by using what's called warfare.
Trump making it clear there he will continue his re-election campaign. A mixed response from his fellow Republicans, as CBS's Robert Costa reports.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said in a statement, the weaponization of federal law enforcement represents a mortal threat to a free society. Yet some Republicans publicly are starting to question whether Trump should carry on as the front runner in this race, as the potential nominee. The former governor of Arkansas, Asa Hutchinson, who's running for the nomination as well, said, quote, this reaffirms the need for Donald Trump to respect the office and end his campaign.
Officials at the Vatican say Pope Francis has started working from his hospital room. The 86-year-old pontiff underwent a 3-hour hernia operation on Wednesday. To the Canada wildfires now. The air is starting to clear across most of the state's downwind, but not all. Odyssey New York meteorologist Craig Allen tells us more.
Air quality advisories and alerts are in effect for portions of Michigan on down into Indiana, mostly the western portions of Ohio, but there are some areas around Cleveland and northeast on up into northwest sections of Pennsylvania and western New York that will also be affected.
It's been 18 years since 18-year-old Natalie Holloway vanished from the island of Aruba. Now, the chief suspect in her disappearance is in an Alabama courthouse this hour. Joran van der Sloot's been temporarily extradited from Peru, where he's serving a prison sentence for the 2010 murder of a woman there. CBS's Janet Shamlian has more from Birmingham.
Holloway's father, in a statement last month, said, "While nothing can change our painful reality, it is my deep hope that he will finally speak the truth that we have searched
Do you know what splooting is? If you Google squirrels splooting, it's like they're just face planted directly on the pavement.
Splooting.
Moving Wisconsin forward, one joke at a time. This is Kristen Bry with As Goes Wisconsin.
Yada, yada, yada.
Hello, Wisconsin. Welcome to the noon hour of, not the 11 o'clock hour of As Goes Wisconsin.
Still getting used to these new hours.
To it. This was the first week that we have been on from 10 to 12 across the Civic Media Network instead of 11 to 2. I still have a bunch of social media things I have to update so that we have the right times when we're promoting the show.
Yes.
But there's a lot of details to go double check. But I actually during the break I got a bit of news. Jade Madnair.
You did.
I got a bit of news from a friend of mine who texted me that said, hey, do you know that you're up for Best Radio Personality on Milwaukee Magazine, Best of Milwaukee?
Wow.
And I was like, no, I did not, especially since Chris Strasner, executive editor
was here yesterday
of Milwaukee Magazine, was here yesterday. And so it's like, he did not inform me that I was included in that.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
And so if you would like to vote, I guess even if you don't live in Milwaukee, but if you would like to vote for Milwaukee Magazine's 2023 Reader's Choice Awards, I go to vote.milwaukeemag.com. And there's probably a ton of different things that you vote for food and drink and recreation and services and stuff like that. But voting is open until June 11th. And winners are going to be announced in September issue of Milwaukee Magazine. I have not, because we came back from break, I have not seen who else is included in other radio personalities that are up for it. It is an honor. I sound so cheesy, but it is an honor just to be nominated, considering this is, we're not even a year in yet. Until like July 5th will be the year anniversary of this show. But I'll take the publicity to have people voting. And so I'm hoping enough people will fill out that survey and vote and say, who the hell is Kristen Bry? And then maybe they'll check out the show. But I feel that is very exciting.
That's really exciting.
That's really cool.
Well done, my friend.
Thank you. Well, are we are we good? I think we're waiting for our next guest to join us. This was back in, I want to say February, that the Foodshare benefits, also known as SNAP, were abruptly coming to an end. There was an extension during COVID for extra benefits, and pretty abruptly there was a vote to end those benefits. And we had talked to Sherrie Tussler from Hunger Task Force back right before that was going to go into effect, and kind of the predictions of how bad that was going to be for how many people across Wisconsin. And so since it's been a couple months and we've gone through the debt ceiling negotiations, we're going through Wisconsin budget negotiations, I thought we would have Sherrie Tussler back on the show to talk about where we're at with, this is put it bluntly, hunger in Wisconsin. So welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin, Sherrie.
It's great to be here.
So I guess, like I just said, the last time we talked, it was kind of pending, and there was a lot of speculation of how bad it was going to be. And I guess in the months since the extension for food shares happened, what has it been like for you guys and across the state for other food banks?
Well, we're starting to see an increase in demand for emergency food from food pantries. And so people who were previously shopping at the grocery store and buying the foods that they preferred now have to stand in line and beg for help again. About a 15% increase in the month of April over March, which was actually when the emergency allotments ended. I was at public housing today and met a gentleman who said, how do I sign up for some other kind of help because I don't have any money on my Quest card anymore? It's going to be bad.
It's bad. And has there been, because I know the last time we talked, as far as conversations for what could be done with the state budget, and as we see headline after headline roll out as far as what is getting cut from this, that, and the other, has there been any progress there as far as silver linings of stuff that may help for people when it comes to
No.
Okay.
The governor budgeted $20 million for what he called the Food Security Initiative, and that would have been in the state agency that is the Department of Ag, Trade, and Consumer Protection. And we were promised by conservative Republicans that dominate that committee that a funding bill would go through so that we could fund the Badger Box program across the state. And at the last minute, they pulled that out. And so the Badger Box has also been zeroed.
And remind people what the Badger Box was going to be, or is.
Well, it has been a box of all Wisconsin foods, a commodity box of foods, where we purchase foods using CARES and ARPA dollars from Wisconsin farmers, food producers, and food cooperatives. And we had them aggregated into a box and delivered to 17 different communities, rural, urban, remote, indigenous, across the state, in order to address hunger needs in those communities. And it was incredibly well received. People loved the Badger Box.
Yeah.
And it not only helped hungry people, it helped farmers.
I was going to ask you, Sherrie, what did the farmers who were involved in that say about this program?
They're dismayed, they're upset, and the crazy part is some of the people that were on the committee are farmers themselves. And so farmers voted to defund farmers during that vote.
And this is the thing that when you are in these conversations, do they ever give you a reason, or is it just the rug gets pulled out from underneath you that it's like, well, this is not going to happen?
As we understand it, there's a specific person on the Joint Finance Committee that looks at a specific budget. In this particular case, it was a gentleman named Tony Kurtz, and he would give the thumbs up or thumbs down to something like the Badger Box, and he gave it the thumbs down. No one's giving us any reason why they voted against it, even though so many of them said that they would vote for it. So we are left standing going, where's the democracy? Where's the transparency? Where's the explanation? Where's even an understanding that you could give to the consumers or the business people that we were buying the food from? And there's no explanation.
Because to me, is when you explain what the Badger Box is and how it's a win-win in so many different ways, because it's all food products from Wisconsin that is supporting Wisconsin businesses, supporting Wisconsin farmers, going to people who need food. Again, I said this in the first hour, like it just kind of boggles the mind of like, why? How can you be against this? This is a nonpartisan thing. Like feeding people and supporting businesses is nonpartisan, is it not? And so I guess
it became partisan because it was something that they viewed was supported by the governor. And it was ARPA dollars. And they said that anything that had previously been funded using ARPA dollars was going to be dead on arrival. Which, honestly, like the pandemic was terrible, but some good things came out of it.
Yeah. And so as far as moving forward, because obviously you don't just throw your hands up in the air and say, well, that's it. So what are some of the initiatives and projects, knowing that this funding is not coming through, knowing that the extensions for the Foodshare program has been month 2 or 3 since that's been shorted? What are some of the plans as far as and priorities for Hunger Task Force for the rest of the year?
Well, we're not going to give up on that Badger Box because we've been turned down by state government, but it seems like the federal government could fund it. And honestly, the kinds of commodities that we get at our food bank that come from the USDA and the Commodity Credit Corporation are things, from other states. We believe that we could do the Badger Box much more cheaply right here in our state with foods from Wisconsin and create a local food system, which is what the Biden administration has been talking about since they took office. And so we're starting a letter writing campaign to Secretary Vilsack to ask him to do a carve out so that we can continue the Badger Box. We're literally saying, could you please just give us the money that you waste?
And how much money would it take?
$36 million over 2 years.
Okay. Well, is there anything that our listeners can do to help?
Yeah, they could call Baldwin's office.
Okay.
They could call Secretary of Vilsack's office. They could reach out to the USDA and demand why a locally successful commodity program with a smaller footprint and a greener approach can't be funded. And they should demand some equity for Wisconsin farmers.
And Sherrie, I can't even imagine your frustration after being told that, yep, we're all behind this. And then all of a sudden, zip, we're not. And as you said, without any explanation, which just tells me that this was not justifiable and they just don't have a way to justify this decision.
It is super frustrating. I've been doing this work for 25 years now. And I guess I'm never surprised at the ignorance of elected officials when they just go about their business and don't care about their constituents. But this one was hard. It was really hard.
Well, to not end on a totally sad note, I did see that yesterday, the Bucks and Cousin Subs had a campaign that raised more than $20,000 for you guys.
They surely did.
That's some good news. It's not $36 million, but it's something.
$150,000 for us. Yeah. And it really does take, all of those contributions from individuals, corporations, foundations to make a difference in terms of feeding the hungry. And so I also want to give a shout out, not just end on a sad note and say our donors have been great. People have supported us. We've got lots of great friends all over the community and now in the state of Wisconsin. So you supported hunger relief over the last couple of 3 years. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And I'll put all the stuff for Hunger Task Force in the show notes today as far as donations and things you can do to help or donate to Hunger Task Force because it is so important. And I just thought it was important to give people an update because I know when we talked about it last, we knew it was coming. And then there was very little talked about what's happened since. And so even though it is not good news and it is hard, I'm so grateful to have you give us an update on what's going on. And so you're open door to come out whenever you want, Sherrie, because this is a really important issue that touches a lot of things and a lot of people.
All right. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. Have a great day. Thank you for your work. Sherrie Tussler is the executive director of Hunger Task Force and has been since 1997. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back in just a minute.
Cause that's what friends are supposed to do. Oh yeah. Ooh, ooh, you can count on me.
Brandy Old Fashioned is Wisconsin's official cocktail. How do you go about making yours a little official-er? Mix in Wisconsin's own Drink Wisconsin Blee Brandy. It's smooth, it's delicious, and it's bottled right here in Wisconsin, giving your Brandy Old Fashioned even more local flavor. And what about those times you're out and about and don't want to
Finland, 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 the country where I want to be pony trekking or camping or just watching TV. Finland, Finland, Finland.
Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. I am Kristen Bry. She is Jane Madnair, and we were rolling through today's Friday show. And this is a callback to last week. Was it last Thursday or Friday when we were talking about how electricity bills in California are now going to be tied to your income? Was that I think it was last Thursday?
I think so, yeah.
And I had said, oh, this reminds me of, a thought exercise that we had to do in college on what is more fair or more equitable or actually more effective when it comes to speeding tickets. And you had to defend if it was more advantageous to charge people on a speeding ticket based off their income or a flat fee. And thinking that someone who is very wealthy, if they have the same, what is a huge speeding ticket for someone who is poorer is a drop in the bucket for someone who is richer.
Sure.
Well, it turns out this is not just a hypothetical in some places. In, some Finnish things, reindeer, Nokia, and a $130,000 speeding ticket.
What?
Yeah. So on Sunday, a man in Finland was fined 121,000 euros, which equates to about $130,000 for going 20 miles over the speed limit, miles per hour over the speed limit.
That's crazy.
Like that's not, I mean, that 20 miles per hour over is fast. It depends if you're on a highway versus like a residential street. I mean, I think I don't know if I've gone 20 regularly. I'm like good for always like about 10 over the 5 to 10 over the speed limit on the highway. But so it's the speeding tickets in Finland are calculated based on income. It's called the day fine system, wherein half of the offender's daily income is multiplied by a certain number of days, which increases according to the severity of the offense. So the driver hit with a 6-figure fine has a fairly large income. And he is the founder of a multi-million-dollar company called Wickloff Holding Company.
Okay.
And he's one of Finland's richest people. But I guess this has been around. Maybe this is what originally the college thought thing was based off of.
Could be.
Because this day fine system was established in 1921. This is not a new thing. And I guess other countries have adopted it since, including Switzerland, which is, pun intended, far from neutral when it comes to the rules of the road. So the Swiss hold the world record for the biggest speeding ticket fine, which was the equivalent of over $1 million to a man who went to Mad Max Fury Road on his motorcycle.
Uh-oh.
And there's a bill here
that would do this.
That would do this. So there's a bill introduced in New York City. So then the New York City Council last month that would make parking fines proportional to income in an attempt to alleviate the affordability crisis and recover some of the city's $1 billion outstanding parking and speeding tickets.
See, now I want to check back with the guy, though, who had to pay almost $1 million in fines and find out if that really changed him.
Oh, that's a good question.
I mean, and for Finland's richest man, is $130,000 that much money? I mean, I'm sure he doesn't want to spend it, but
it's certainly a waste of money.
Well, without a doubt. But did that really change the behavior?
I'm surprised he's driving himself. Right?
That's a good point.
Did we learn this with Succession when we talked about Kieran Culkin's, like, what have you learned about rich people being in the show Succession? He goes that they never need coats.
Yeah, that's
because they just, you're either in a helicopter or in a car and they're dropped off exactly where they need to go and they never walk outside long enough to need a coat. And so if you're Finland's richest man or one of, why are you driving yourself, bro?
Yeah, that's although that seems like a very Finnish thing to do.
I mean, I guess is it? Do you know much about the Finnish?
We were there briefly when we did a cruise many, many years ago. Lovely country, gorgeous country, really lovely people, a little taciturn and not showy. I would say that the Finns are not braggarts.
Okay.
And so having your own driver might be a little ill. Who do you think you are?
Oh, interesting. But I mean, yeah, that's funny. That's really funny. But I guess my question to you at home is, does this seem like a fair system? Does this seem like something that would be an advantageous thing to apply to different, and maybe not power bills? Because for some reason, it was hard to get, like when we were talking about it last week with the bills, it felt harder to wrap your head around of like, should you have to pay more in your electricity bill just because you make more? But for some reason, when it comes to like fines of you breaking the law, because the point is, and maybe the difference is this, maybe the difference is like you need electricity. So, and this is what it costs to provide that versus the point of giving you a fine when you do something wrong is so that you don't do it again.
Right.
And so if the fine is too low because you're just rich, what's going to keep you from just paying it again? So maybe that's what the difference is of why this feels much smarter. And like, I feel like we could get more public support behind than your bills associate to how much money you make.
Yeah, I think it would be an easier sell. I do.
So let us know. Would you be on board for fines like speeding tickets and I don't know, anything else you would get a fine for be relative to the person's income to, potentially dissuade them from doing it again? 844-967-2789. We will take your calls and your texts on that question when we come back. But we're also, when we come back, am I the sphincter? It's that time of the week. We would love to hear your opinion on some of these situations that we have. But this is As Goes Wisconsin. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Finland, Finland, Finland. Finland has it all. Finland has it all.
This summer, 5:40 a.m. WAUK has a new lineup starting at 6 a.m. Up North News, 8 to 10, The Earl Ingram Show on 5:40 a.m. WAUK.
CBS News special report. Moments ago in New Hampshire, Mike Pence weighed in on the charges against Donald Trump.
I had hoped the Department of Justice would see its way clear to resolve these issues with the former president without moving forward with charges. And I'm deeply troubled to see this indictment move forward.
Former President Donald Trump facing those federal criminal charges over those classified documents found at his Florida residence.
The documents he is accused of keeping are some of the most sensitive, if not the most sensitive documents that are in the part of the federal system. He's accused of obstructing justice after he received a subpoena. That is a big deal.
CBS's John Dickerson, CBS's Robert Costa calling this possibly Trump's most serious legal threat yet.
Former federal prosecutors who know Jack Smith, the special counsel, say he would not bring these series of charges unless he felt that he could win this case.
Trump will be arraigned in Miami on Tuesday. CBS News special report. I'm Vicki Barker.
Your home for local news, weather, and sports across the airwaves and always streaming on the Civic Media app.
For Civic Media News, I'm Stuart J. Waddles. Here's what you need to know in Southeast Wisconsin. A man wanted for dragging a Milwaukee County Sheriff deputy through a parking lot in a stolen vehicle during an attempted traffic stop was arrested yesterday. Police say the dragging incident reflects a growing trend of events at the county parks, particularly the lakefront, where firearms and encounters with stolen vehicles have been reported in the past 30 days. Following an argument that escalated to a stabbing, 2 adult siblings from Kenosha were hospitalized yesterday. The Kenosha News reports one sibling pulled out a pocket knife during the argument, leading to both siblings stabbing each other. Waukesha police have released body camera footage of a police shooting that took place in December. 40-year-old Katie Powers was shot after ignoring commands and reaching for a pistol.
Don't reach for anything! Don't reach for anything!
Investigators say Powers had a history of mental illness. For Civic Media News, I'm Stuart J.
Does your
Waddles.
financial strategy include your hopes and dreams? What matters most to you? For over 100 years, ThriveFund has helped clients like you find financial solutions for life's important goals. Explore a full range of options, from financial advice and investments to insurance, banking, and generosity programs. To have a heart-to-heart about your finances, contact Mandy Roberts, who you may recognize as Mandy Wright. Call her at 715-470-1303. 715-470-1303. Mandy Roberts proudly serves the central Wisconsin area. For more details, visit thrivefund.com/disclosure.
Get ready to dominate the field like never before. Get to Soccer World in Brookfield. They have a great selection of shoes, apparel, and accessories to help kick your game into high gear. Soccer World's team of soccer experts have over 38 years of experience in the retail and soccer market. From cleats to shin guards, jerseys to coaching equipment, they'll help you stay ahead of the game. Plus, look to Soccer World for all your team business needs. Soccer World, 12615 West North Avenue in Brookfield, or online at soccerworldofbrookfield.net.
If you're grilling this weekend, be sure to have plenty of artisan hearth buns and rolls on hand. Fancy equipment and secret sauces are great, but once you've mastered the basics, it's all about the bun. Your perfectly grilled burgers and hot dogs deserve the best, and with several varieties to choose from, including Wisconsin brat buns, gourmet brioche, French, and onion rolls, the bakers of Artisan Hearth have the buns and rolls your family will love. Artisan Hearth, locally baked, delivered fresh daily.
You are listening to your local Civic Media radio station on air. Thank you. Did you know we are always streaming on TuneIn and the Civic Media app too? And if you miss a show or game, find it wherever.
You're a big, busy douche. Everything you said was a lie. You're a douche, you're a douche, you're a big, busy douche.
But you're still a really, really handsome guy.
Thank you. You're a douche, you're a douche, you're a big, busy douche.
Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. I am Kristen Bry. She is Jane Madnair. And it is that time on a Friday when we are going to do Am I the Sphincter? And I just thought about this at the break because I feel like we probably are one of the only radio shows today that is somewhat political that spent so little time talking about Trump.
Well, I think there's so much out there and it's being well covered by many, 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 many others. And trust me, it's on our radar too.
It is on our radar. And I actually was just thinking, I was like, oh, this is a huge missed opportunity. And maybe I shouldn't even say it in case I have time to write it later. But had I had the foresight this morning, writing an Am I the Sphincter submission from Trump's POV? Am I the a-hole for not returning these documents and like explaining the whole situation?
Here's what happened.
Who's right and who's wrong in this situation? But you know, the other guy who like it's his Justice Department, he also kept documents. And so like, come on. Am I the jerk? Am I the jerk?
You know what? With the way things are going for him right now, he might actually consider doing something like that.
Popular opinion, man.
I can see him popping up on a subreddit and yeah.
And but yes, I wanted to just acknowledge that we are aware that Trump got indicted last night. We're also aware it's a very big deal. And I also was aware that every other show probably on this network and other networks, we're going to talk about it. And also, I was at an event last night and I was off my phone. That was good. Not checking social media. I was present. And it wasn't until after the event was over, like 9:45, that I checked Twitter and I was like, oh, wow.
Something happened.
Something happened.
Yes.
And I have to admit, I was very relieved to be doing something else and not home, you know, on a Thursday, kind of unwinding for the night and then getting all riled up on Twitter, reading people's takes and, you know, all the people on the right who had things to say as far as how this is, you know, the war, you know, this is such a disgrace of the Justice Department and blah, blah, blah. And all the people on the left who were like, this is accountability and no one is above the law and everything. Because, we're going to have months to talk about this.
Yeah, this isn't going away.
And so I wanted to at least acknowledge that we know that it happened and that it's okay that we didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
But maybe I will write that.
I like that.
AITA.
That's
from,
got
from Trump's POV.
a lot of potential there. There's a lot of potential.
But anyways, we do have some other submissions that we wanted to read. This is the segment where we pull from Reddit. There is a subreddit called Am I the A-hole? We like to say Am I the Sphincter for FCC reasons, where people submit real life situations from their life, and they ask for people's input on whether or not they are the jerk in the situation. We read it, we weigh in, we invite you to weigh in on who's right, who's wrong, based on our social norms. So, number 1, am I the sphincter for not babysitting my ex-husband's kid?
Wait, what?
All right.
Am I the sphincter for not babysitting my ex-husband's child?
Which I'm assuming means it's not her kid, because you can't babysit your own kid.
Right.
Dads.
Good thing to point
Reminder.
out. It's a good reminder.
Michael Sampson, you cannot babysit your own kid.
No, nice try.
It's just called parenting.
Yes.
All right. My 30 female. What? Oh, this is so the woman who's writing this is 30.
Okay.
She's a female. Her ex-husband, who's 32, male. They have 2 children.
Okay.
A 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. We have been divorced for just about 6 months, and he is now expecting a baby with his new girlfriend.
Oh, well, he moves quickly.
Yeah, that's really fast.
Yes, it is.
I'm admittedly not over him. That's something. We were together for 10 years, my entire adulthood. It was and is a messy split. I'm still bitter and hurt about it, and he seems to have completely moved on. When we had our oldest, neither of us wanted him in daycare.
Okay.
No judgment. We just didn't feel comfortable. So I stayed home and eventually started my own business that allows me to work from home 99% of the time. My parents are also local and retired and help me out as much as they can. This arrangement works for me, and I get to spend time with both of my kids. Now, ex's girlfriend is 5 months pregnant, and they got in a huge fight because she asked him to tour daycares, and he said absolutely not. He wants her to stay home with the baby. None of his kids are going to go to daycare. Admittedly, the ones here do suck. No, that's a problem. It's a problem everywhere.
Yeah.
He called me to vent, and I listened. Then he dropped the bomb. He asked if I would be willing to take care of their baby since I'm home with our 2 and get help from my parents. And when I have to take the kids to the office, I can because I own it. He mentioned that I know how he feels about his kids in one of these daycares, and I sort of lost it on him. It was a 1.5 years of walled up anger and hurt, and I said some nasty things that I have since apologized for. Fast forward to 3 days later, new girlfriend pulled me to the side when I dropped off my kids to their house and asked why I was so ugly about it and why I thought my kids were better than hers and why her baby doesn't deserve the same things mine get.
What?
I never said that, but apologized if anything I said came off like that. Told her I'm happy for them. I'm not, but pleasantries. But was certainly not going to babysit their kid. She's a nurse, so I get she can't work from home and she doesn't want to give up her career, but they should have thought about that. I left before it blew up again, but ex called me about 2 hours later and asked me to come get the kids because he and new girlfriend were fighting and he didn't want them to be around for it. I picked them up, of course, and ex texted me on the drive home and asked again if I would babysit for them for $200 a week. I said no, and he called me a bitter biatch and said I'm being an a-hole because I'm hurt. I don't see it this way at all. I reiterated that the request is absurd and I would not be talking about it anymore. This was yesterday, and all day today, new girlfriend has been texting me and having her friends and family review bomb my business. I'm not worried about it. My clients know my work. Ex-husband hasn't said anything else, but he's been shorter with me in our conversations about our kids. So am I the sphincter for refusing to keep my ex-husband's babysit my ex-husband's new baby? Absolutely not.
What kind of stones do you have to even ask something like that? And if you want the same situation that you had with your ex-wife, you talk to your parents.
Yeah.
You get the woman who's pregnant now with your child. Have her talk to her parents.
Yeah. This is the audacity of thinking that we've had were you not in the conversations when we were having like a bitter breakup after being together for 10 years and within 6 months, you're 5 months pregnant? They said, didn't she say that they divorced 6 months ago and the girlfriend is 5 months pregnant? So
yeah, he's been busy.
I don't know how long they were separated for, but clearly he moved on pretty quickly, which couldn't have felt good. So the fact that you think I'm just going to be okay babysitting your new kid, what?
With
Absolutely
the woman,
not.
with the woman that you cheated on me with.
Well, we don't know that for sure.
Well,
I feel like she would have added that. Had
No.
she said he cheated, because when she worded it, she said he's moved on quickly.
Yeah.
If he had cheated, I feel like she would have put that in the.
Maybe she just doesn't know.
Maybe she's too nice.
844-967-2789, 844-96-PARTY. Who's the sphincter in this situation? Mark from the SAC is joining us. Hey, Mark, what do you think about this mess?
Well, it's the ex-husband and the girlfriend that are the sphincters in this situation here. That it is just ridiculous. It just sounds ridiculous. That they're expecting her to suck it up, and because it's pretty obvious that he is probably cheating. That at some point in time here, that he moved on so very, very, very quickly. That that I'm that personally aware of a situation like this. That the cheating ex-husband is kind of saying, well, what's the problem here? Why aren't you just accepting, that that it just is. It's just ridiculous. This guy is
the entitlement, right?
The complete entitlement. Entitlement here. That it is just. I won't say it's beyond belief because I find it believable that this guy would do. There's people out there that would do something like this. But I mean that, and the girlfriend as well. I mean, you'd think that she would be a little bit more. I don't want to say sympathetic, but more understanding of the situation here. But she's a sphincter too.
Well,
and
I tell you what, Mark, this new girlfriend, she better watch out, because if she thinks that she doesn't have to worry about him cheating on her, she's delusional. And if the ex-wife does accept to babysit for this one, then down the road, if and when he has another one with somebody else, he's going to expect you to watch that one too.
But there's also so many other red flags, because even beyond that, the fact that he was like, oh, well, you're just going to quit your job. And she's a nurse. It's like she has a fulfilling career that is like, well, no, we're not going to do daycare. And it sounds like that was her first option. So this guy specifically sounds like the jerk. And on top of that, the fact that he came back and his counter offer was, we'll pay you $200 a week, where everything I know about daycare, it's like $1,000 a week. Go ahead, Mark.
It's just I won't say it's remarkable but it just is a that this woman is a saint for not just telling this guy where to stick it. I mean,
well, it sounds like she did, but then she apologized for it. But absolutely, thanks so much for. Oh, go ahead. One more thing.
Yeah, she shouldn't have to apologize for it. I mean, he's probably the cheating bastard, and it is just remarkable here.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for your input, Mark.
Thanks a lot, Mark.
Happy that you agree with us. Because go ahead, Jay.
It's just 844-967-2789, 844-96-PARTY if you want to check in on this. John from the Falls, she is definitely not the sphincter he is. Her life is going to be much better without him in it. He is a jerk, and it sounds like his new girlfriend is too. And if he didn't want to pay for daycare, he never should have unzipped his pants.
And here, so I didn't get to the edit update. So she came back after this blew up, because I think that this has like thousands of comments on it. So edit update. Thank you for all the support in the comments. It looks like Google has flagged the influx of reviews for spam, and I did call my lawyer to see what she recommends going forward. Yes, my ex was cheating with his girlfriend for some time before we were divorced. So
Thank
you were right.
Yeah, of course, please.
I'm surprised. This woman's too nice that she didn't write that in the first submission.
Well, and that she when she lost her, didn't she? I just text from the 541. If he's willing to pay the ex, he's treating her like a daycare, so he might as well go somewhere else to employ someone else. Baby daddy, by the way, can quit his job to raise his kids.
I mean, it's like, because the truth is, if you were on good terms, because this happens sometimes,
It
right?
does.
There's co-parenting. There's people who are like, we are happily divorced. We share kids. We co-parent. We are symbiotic. We're all one. We're family.
Yes,
we're
a
not
unit.
always going to be on the same page, but we are a
unit.
family.
Yeah.
And whenever I see those families, like, that seems super healthy. There's becomes a community of new wife, ex-wife, new husband, or any combination of those things.
Yep.
This is not that situation.
Not at all.
And the fact that you thought that you just pawn your new kid off on your ex-wife who you cheated on, woof, man. Someone needs to give you a swift kick to the balls for a reality check, and maybe he'll get it now. But woo! All right. Well, we got to take another break. Then we'll come back after that to wrap up today's Friday show of As Goes Wisconsin. I am Kristen Bry, and she is Jane Madnair. We'll be right back.
Everything you said was a lie. You're a douche, you're a douche, you're a big busy douche.
But you're still a really, really handsome guy.
Thank you. You're a douche, you're a douche, you're a big busy douche. And
Does your financial strategy include your hopes and dreams? What matters most to you? For over 100 years, Thriveland has helped clients like you find financial solutions for life's important goals. Explore a full range of options, from financial advice and investments to insurance, banking, and generosity programs. To have a heart-to-heart about your finances, contact Mandy Roberts, who you may recognize as Mandy Wright. Call her at 715-470-1303. 715-470-1303. Mandy Roberts proudly serves the central Wisconsin area. For more details, visit thriveland.com/disclosure.
The summer heat can really get to you. Hot, sticky, you feel like you're melting. But Wauwatosa, coming in July, it'll be easy to cool off. Enjoy Ice Cream Social. This family-run, family-friendly business is more than just ice cream. It's a cool community hangout spot for friends and family. Let's talk about the ice cream. 16 delicious rotating flavors direct from the chocolate shop in Madison. The perfect way to stay sweet and cool this summer. Opening in July. Joy Ice Cream Social. Scoop, snack, shop. 8334 West North Avenue. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Civic Media isn't just another broadcast company. We're your neighbors. We bleed green and gold, and we love nothing more than to help fellow Wisconsinites succeed. Whether your business wants to advertise to your local community or the entire state, Civic Media can help. Find out more at civicmedia.us.
Thank you for listening to your local Civic Media radio station on air. Now join us anytime by finding and following our Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram pages. You'll also find social media links for your favorite shows and hosts on our website, civicmedia.us.
Here's your updated forecast on the Shaw. Lots of sunshine this afternoon with highs around 80. Winds out of the northwest, 8 to 15 miles an hour. Mainly clear skies and quiet again tonight. Lows dip down to about 54. Tomorrow, highs around 84. Chance for scattered showers Sunday and Monday, 62. Sunday, 66 Monday. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Eric Height. Currently, it's 72 degrees.
Well, the truth, well, it hurts to say. I'm gonna pack up my bag and I'm gonna go away. I'm gonna split. I can't stand it. I'm gonna.
Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. I am Kristen Bry. She is Jane Madnair, and this week went by fast.
It sure did. It really did.
It's a little bit of a difference when we are,
getting done at noon instead of 2.
getting done at noon instead of 2 p.m. And so I'm still I'm trying to find this for Milwaukee Magazine. So I said earlier in today's show, I was caught off guard and surprised that my friend was clicking through Milwaukee Magazine's Best of Milwaukee.
They do this every year.
You can go vote at vote.milwaukeemag.com. And she was like, did you know that you are nominated for Best Local Radio Host? And I said, I did not know that. I was a little surprised, but I just found it. So radio host, also Earl Ingram.
Oh, wonderful.
So we got 2 civic media hosts on there. So both Earl and I are nominated, as is John McCure, Mark Belling, and Tariq Moody from Radio Milwaukee and
cool.
Hyphen. I actually got to meet Tariq at Dumpling Fest on Sunday.
He sounds like a very lovely
He
man.
is. What else? He's my neighbor.
Oh, is he
I
really?
walked up to him and I said, I follow you. And he said, I follow you. And I said, did you know that we're also neighbors? And he goes, no. But that is a great little lineup of a list. And so you can go vote. If you listen to this show, I would hope that you would vote for me.
You can also vote for Earl.
But you can also vote for Earl. I will not be offended if I lose to Earl. He's been doing this for a very long time, and he is a respected colleague. I very much appreciate his show and everything that he does and everything he stands for. But like I said, considering I've been doing this only for a year.
Not even
a year. I am very honored to even be on that list. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who look through that and said, who? Because I feel like a lot of people who know me from social media don't necessarily know me by name, but they know me as Goes Wisconsin.
Right.
Because that's
they recognize your face.
They recognize my face, and they certainly recognize my hair. My curly. I feel like that happens if I wear my hair up. People are like, "Who are you?" But I would very much appreciate it. It would be very fun. I have no expectations of winning, but if you would like to vote for us,
what is the link again?
It is vote.milwaukeemag.com, and voting goes until June 11th. And I think you can vote once a day. Yeah, you can vote once a day, every day until the 11th. So I will probably be tweeting that out. I will do a little self-promotion.
Tell your friends, tell your family, have them all vote once a day for the next couple of weeks.
I feel a little, because you've been doing this for a very long time. I feel like you should be nominated. Have you ever been nominated for any of these things?
No, not for Milwaukee Magazine. I don't believe.
For Shepherd's Express, anything like that?
No. See, you have a hip element that I've always lacked.
You've been hip. Really?
I'm not so hip.
I feel like when you, like in your younger years, like you were very cool.
I would love to believe that. But I will say that I feel honored by extension.
You should. You were a huge part of this show.
Well, thanks.
But I couldn't do this without you.
I think it's wonderfully exciting.
I think it's wonderfully exciting too. It's also, also just continuing to get the word out about civic media, getting the word out about WAUK, and now WRJN, which has obviously been around for a long time, but now is talk instead of oldies. And so kind of a reinvention for that station. And as we reach people in Racine and Kenosha, but truly, when you look at the map now, we're everywhere.
Pretty much
anywhere you are in the state, you can get a signal that will stream civic media, and certainly will stream our show because we're lucky enough to be on statewide. The only time we're not on in Madison is from 10 to 11, but we are on Madison now from 11 to 12. And it is, it's very fun to see. And the thing is, if you are ever in a spot where you don't have a radio signal that carries civic media, you can download the app, which is brand new. Has it updated for Android for you yet? Have you seen the new app?
I have. I'm going to check it after the show.
It's beautiful.
That's what I understand. And there's like fancy graphics. And
there's fancy graphics. There's animation. And the thing that's really cool now. So when you go either update your app if you already have the Civic Media app, or go download the Civic Media app from your app store, you can now you can call and text from any given radio station.
Oh, sweet.
So if you click on WAUK or you click on WFHR, you can text into the show from that, and it will give you the distinct number for that station.
Cool.
So it routes it to the right show, and you can do it all from the app. It's very slick. Very slick.
844-967-2789. 844-96-PARTY. Anytime you want to check in. Jimmy K is on the phone. Hey, Jimmy, what do you want to say?
Good afternoon. Thanks for taking my call. Congratulations on the nomination. I also want to mention that Dom and Crute of the Devil's Advocates, they're nominated for Best Radio Team for Best of Madison, which is through channel3000.com here in Madison.
Awesome.
That is very
voting just
cool.
started.
Did that just get released this week too?
Yes, it did. So I think voting for that is live through September, I believe. But people can go to Best of Madison and vote for Dom and Crute for Best Radio Team.
That is very. Do they know that yet? I'm surprised Crute didn't mention that when he was on the show earlier today.
I sent Dom a message about it, but I'm not sure if they actually know.
Well, very cool. Are you based in Madison, Jimmy?
Yeah. I host Maxine Radio on Civic Media.
Oh God! There
Jimmy
we go.
K. It's our Jimmy K.
Our Jimmy K. Got it. Sorry about that.
Well, thanks so much, Jimmy. Really appreciate the
Have a
heads
great
up.
day.
You too. 844-967-2789, 844-96-PARTY. We're going to get the links up in the show notes. I also want to remind everybody, I'm going to be out at the Waukesha Farmers Market tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Very fun.
So stop by from 8 until noon, and it looks like the weather is actually going to cooperate, and the rain is going to hold off. I thought it was going to rain all morning tomorrow, but it's supposed to hold off until later in the day, and 8 to noon along the Fox River in the Waukesha State Bank parking lot.
That's very exciting.
So come by and say hi, and if you have any questions or complaints, go to the booth next door.
Not here. You
kidding.
should wear one of those buttons that says, like, it's with the X through it that says no whining.
No,
I do not want to hear your complaints.
I would love to meet you and talk to you. So stop by tomorrow. Waukesha Farmers Market, 8 until noon.
All right. Well, that'll about do it for us for this week. Thank you for texting. Thank you for calling. Thank you for being part of the show and listening. We'll be back on Monday at 10 a.m. This has been As Goes Wisconsin.
Treat me nothing no more. You don't treat me nothing no more. Treat me good no more.